Bats and birds have both evolved wings to help them fly around, but they're actually quite different. So how do bat wings compare to bird wings? Let's take a closer look. Okay, let's start with the bone structure. You might be surprised to hear this, but a bat's wing is basically a hand. If you look at it from above, you'll see 4 elongated fingers stretching out like the spokes of a wheel. These are the finger bones, or phalanges, and they're very long and thin, kind of like a cat's hand if you imagine it stretched out. Now these super long fingers form the framework of the wing and stretch out the thin skin of the wing membrane. The membrane is called the patagium. It's attached to the body at the top, just behind the front legs, and stretches down between the fingers, over the legs and feet, and then attaches to the tail. So the patagium is basically like a giant parachute, a thin sheet of material stretched out between all those long fingers. The fingers themselves don't flap the air directly. They hold the shape of the wing and stretch out the membrane. That's where most of the action happens. The membrane is thin and flexible, so it can move and twist in the air. This makes bats very maneuverable. They can zoom in and out of narrow spaces, like when they're flying through caves or weaving between trees in a forest. But having a flexible wing does have its downsides. The skin membrane can sag when not in use, so bats have to actively flex their fingers to keep their wings in flying condition. Also, because the membrane has blood vessels and nerves, it's not as smooth and rigid as a bird's wing. The flexibility is great for maneuvering, but it makes bats less efficient at soaring long distances. Now let's compare that to birds. A bird's wing isn't a hand, it's a modified arm. The bones are shorter than in bats, and the fingers are reduced and fused together. There's still a trace of 3 fingers on each wing, but they're not really functional. Instead of flexible fingers, birds have rigid feathers. The feathers are attached to the arm bones and the fused fingers, and they create the surface area for flight. Just like with bats, the surface area needs to be large enough to catch and ride the currents in the air, but it doesn't need to be as flexible. Bird feathers are flat and overlap each other. This creates a smooth surface that's efficient for gliding and flying at high speeds over long distances. This is why birds can soar. Their feathers create a streamlined surface that catches the air and lets them stay airborne without flapping. Speaking of flapping, bird wings are stiff. The feathers aren't as flexible as a bat's membrane, so the wing has to be straight and stiff when it beats the air. But that's good, because it makes the wing more efficient at moving the bird through the air. Each time the wing beats, it pushes the air downward. This gives the bird lift and thrust. And finally, let's talk about the covering material. Bat wings are covered only by thin skin. There are blood vessels and nerves running through the skin, and that helps the bat control the shape of the wing while it's flying. But other than that, there's nothing protecting the wing. Bird wings, on the other hand, are covered by feathers. Feathers are made of keratin, the same stuff our nails and hair are made of. But unlike our nails and hair, feathers are lightweight yet incredibly strong. They can withstand a lot of force as the bird beats the air with its wings. Plus, the feathers trap a layer of air close to the bird's body, which provides insulation and helps the bird conserve energy. Sometimes the feathers are coated with oil that repels water. This keeps the feathers light and helps the bird fly in rain without getting weighed down. Now let's recap everything we've talked about. Bat wings are made of a hand and a skin membrane, while bird wings are made of an arm and feathers. The bones of the bat wing are long and thin, while the bones of the bird wing are short and fused. The fingers of the bat are long and flexible, while the fingers of the bird are reduced and rigid. The bat's wing membrane is thin and flexible, while the bird's feathers are flat and smooth. The bat's wing is covered only by thin skin, while the bird's wing is covered by feathers. Finally, the bat flies with flexible, maneuverable wings, while the bird flies with stiff, efficient wings. So despite looking similar from afar, bat wings and bird wings are very different. They evolved separately, and each one is perfectly suited for the lifestyle of its owner. Bats are nocturnal, and many live in caves, so they need flexible wings to help them maneuver in tight spaces. They also need wings that are thin enough to let them squeeze into small spaces when they're not flying. And the membrane on their wings works well for bats, because they rely on echolocation to get around. Sound waves bounce off of objects around them, helping them navigate in the dark. But sound also moves through the membrane on their wings. So the thin membrane lets the bats feel the echoes of their clicks all the way down to their bones. This helps them judge the size, shape, and distance to objects around them. Birds, on the other hand, are mostly active during the day, and they typically live in trees or on the ground. So they don't need flexible wings. They need wings that are good for soaring and long-distance travel. Also, birds can see, so they don't need to use echolocation to get around. In fact, their eyes are huge to help them spot predators and find food while they're flying. All of these adaptations help bats and birds thrive in their unique habitats. Now you know just how different bat wings and bird wings are. Do you have any other questions about bats or birds? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this episode, and don't forget to subscribe, we'll see you next time.